morning, Internet. My name is Ash, and welcome to A Thing. I'm sure many of you guys are familiar with James the Viola King. You may know him from a couple collabs we did a couple months ago. Well, recently, James made a few videos, one of which has a title kind of resembling my channel's name. Please stop bullying Violists? James, if you got that monetization, you know who to call. Okay, but jokes aside, even though I don't play viola, this is a topic that I've wanted to talk about for a while now. And I figured that now would be a better time than ever, seeing as James just released those videos as of the writing of this script. So, let's talk about instrument discrimination. Oh god, that sounds like a movement started by the same people who came up with Super Straight. Okay, but you guys know me as the classical music loving, dirty joke telling, questionably eccentric guitar playing, swashbuckling. Where was I? Hi, I'm Ash, I'm 14, I'm in 8th grade, and I play the oboe. Yeah, I know that's from a piano sonata. It's my video, I'll play whatever the fuck I want, okay? Of my two closest friends, one of them just started playing flute, but 2 years ago, I was the only musician in the group. And when I started it out, and believe me, this is an experience shared by many oboists everywhere, my friends opened with the line of, "Wow, nice clarinet you got there." So like any good Asian child that plays instruments, I calmly corrected them and told them no, who the hell am I kidding? I said, "It's a fucking oboe, you idiots!" But their reaction, which by the way, looked something like this. Oboe! God damn it. I feel so stupid doing it because it is stupid. But as stupid as it is, because they were some of my closest friends, their reaction kind of made me want to stop playing the oboe. Which sounds completely idiotic, even as I say it out loud right now because I'm a second year, I've played all kinds of stuff, I'm in band, etc, etc, etc. But when my two closest friends in the whole damn world started making dumb sex jokes about woodwind instruments having reeds, not gonna explain that one, it kind of made me feel a little bit embarrassed to play the oboe, or at the very least like I needed to keep it a secret from the two people I'm closest to in the whole world. Here we get to the problem. The viola jokes in a professional orchestra to the people within that community are very obviously jokes. They're understood as such.
We exist because you exist, so there's this coexistence happening. Yeah. So violas, you do a great job. Thank you for being there for us. Next one.
School settings, however, the story's not the same. Me playing the oboe means I have some level of acceptance from my band peers in an ensemble music setting, and don't even get me started on guitar and piano, the two most basic instruments in the whole damn world. By the way, if I see a single "when you feel like bullying guitars," that's cool, but can you play Wonderwall? If I see a single one of those comments down below, I swear, I'll be really mean to you in a video in front of dozens of people on the internet. Okay? So if I, an already 4th year guitarist who's decided to pick up a 2nd and 3rd instrument, wants to quit oboe because of a few conniving comments from a couple of friends, imagine what it's like for the average young violist. My solace in the oboe was band, especially because my band director's a really nice guy and everybody's super supportive in that community, but if you're thinking about it from the violist perspective, they're receiving this kind of conniving humor from both their orchestral peers and their non-musician friends. James is an amazing violist. Don't believe me? For him to have quit because of dumb jokes that people made in school would be absurd. He goes to Juilliard, for crying out loud. Why would he quit now? But for every James, there's tons of violists that either quit or switch to a different instrument just because they don't want to be perceived in that violist way. Essentially, the culture has taught people to cut it off before they can even develop any amount of love and skill for the viola. I was originally gonna ask a violist in my class to be in this video, but upon a literal 20-second conversation with this guy, who I guess I'll be referring to him as Eddie for the sake of this video, made me realize already from the perspective of somebody who thought this was a serious enough problem to make it into a video, that this problem is a lot worse than I already thought it was. James himself put it best: we can't stop making viola jokes. For one, they're hilarious as fuck, but for two, they're so deep-seated into the culture that everything would just be way too dry in the context of classical music without them. But at the same time, in order to make fun of the viola, you need to appreciate it first. But in order to talk about how we're gonna get young, impressionable, and insecure violists to stop quitting, we need to talk about a more deep-seated problem within the classical music culture. There is a huge amount of disconnect between the professional level and everybody else. Pros making fun of people for liking popular pieces like The Four Seasons, Canon in D, For Elise, Clair de Lune, etc. Inside humor that nobody really cares to explain. So by the nature of it, it takes people quite a while to actually immerse themselves within the culture, and you have to throw yourself in there without anybody to hold your hand, because nobody's gonna. In fact, my mom is a professional classical musician, and when I told her that I was making this video, she was completely unaware that the problem was a much bigger deal within the context of a school orchestra, whilst also having been in school orchestras when she was a kid. There's so much disconnect in the world of classical music that oftentimes the biggest players in the world have no clue that this is going on. There are very few attempts to educate within this community, and two-set violin is by and large the largest. Full stop. 3 million subscribers, friggin' collaborated with soloists, cover of the Strad magazine, no contest. So unless a kid learns to appreciate the viola from them, they're just gonna hear other people like soloists, like maybe even private teachers, make casual viola jokes, and of course a young child who is sometimes as little as 5 fucking years old is gonna understand the concept of sarcasm and gently poke fun at the instrument while also appreciating its difficulties. Yeah, right. The violist that I asked to be in this video, do you want to know what that 20-second conversation looked like? Hey Eddie, didn't you say that you played viola? Eddie responds, no! I mean, yeah, I do, unfortunately. Obviously, I'm exaggerating here, but honestly, it's not that far off from the truth, and I didn't say anything more in that conversation, partially because he was already wrapped up in a conversation with other friends, but also just wow. There's a difference between making a joke about a certain instrument because it plays a part, the harmony in this case, that nobody really cares that much about, and doing it so much that a person feels the need to actively deny that they play the viola. Those two-set violin clips from earlier, let's watch them again.
We exist because you exist, so there's this coexistence happening. Yeah. So Violists, you do a great job. Thank you for being there for us. Next one.
It's obvious that two-set violin actually appreciates the viola, and like James said in his second video on the topic, it could very well just be another part of their goal of recently shifting towards more serious types of content. But as James also said in that video, this ain't enough. A couple comments in some random Reddit video isn't going to get years and years and years of young impressionable children in the context of an orchestra to stop making fun of the viola for being the viola. Now, there were a lot of comments on James's original video about how he was called a snowflake and that violists should just deal with it, and that historically violists have taken viola jokes very well, which is true because in those settings they are understood as jokes. We here are discussing about younger beginner violists who may not want to pick it up or see shame in picking it up because of the culture surrounding it. That's the part that needs to change, not the jokes, the actual unironic discrimination that comes from the disconnect between two parts of the community. A couple comments in a Reddit video are not going to fix this. They need to do something like maybe a viola performance review, talking with a violist in one of their videos, maybe Jason, he was in a bunch of their videos, maybe some kind of ling-ling workout involving the viola, etc, etc, etc. If you're a fan of two-set, then you may remember a while ago they had a little bit of drama involving a couple of recorderists because they made a video called Violin versus Recorder, which spouted certain inaccuracies, let's say. It took them less than a month to make an entire video reacting to recorderists correcting their mistakes and saying sorry to the recorder community. Thinking back to my friend Eddie, I mean, I'm not in orchestra, I'm in band, so I can't really comment, but according to the people that I do know who are in my middle school orchestra, he is literally the only violist there. Standing out from the crowd like that alone is enough to get a 14-year-old to quit an instrument because of social pressure, something that I believe we're all familiar with. Two-set violin, You guys are supposed to be the bridge, making classical music more accessible to the people of the world. That's literally your job. Why are you leaving Violists in the dust? Come on. Do the damn Ling Ling workout, please. Oh, this video came out way rantier than I wish it did. You can probably tell that I deviated from the script quite a bit. I just want to raise awareness to what little audience I have that, hey, this problem exists, this is what we should do about it, etc, etc, etc. But for now, thank you all for watching this video. If you liked it, please, 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 please do share it manually with people because one, that's the only way you can really get small channels to grow, and two, I need Violists to see this. To see that, man, it's okay. Okay. But for now, thank you all very much for watching. Consider liking and subscribing if you enjoyed this video, and for now, this is PDB Ash, signing off.